All right, Nadia here from Addicted Magazine with Matthew Wilson. Say hi, Matthew.
Hello, Matthew.
So, you are an actor, among other things.
Yes.
Tell me how you got into the wonderful world of acting.
When I was a young boy, I had a real hard time at school. And my parents, there was no art school, so my parents figured that they should probably get me involved in some sort of art. So I started doing some community theater, and then that kind of didn't really stick. It didn't really stick. I didn't really get bitten by the theater bug, and then I guess in my early 20s, I had a bad breakup, and
that's usually the beginning of every life story in general. I had a bad breakup,
and then so I knew then that maybe I needed to change some things in my life. So I got involved in some theater, and I got cast, and I kept going out for theater auditions and getting cast.
So what was that first casting that kind of changed the course of your life?
It was probably the first casting that I got a role in, and I realized that I was quite thrilled and honored and humbled and nervous. But when I started doing the role, I was even more nervous and humbled and thrilled.
What was the role?
I played the King of France. Wow, and it was a play called The Lark. It's the Joan of Arc story.
I was going to say you were the Dauphin.
The Dauphin. So, which I think means prince.
Yeah, it does.
So that's what I played. I played the prince, and it was during that time that I really realized that I got this role by myself.
Really? So then, from that point of doing theater, you've done a heck of a lot of other stuff since then. Like, what was the progression to take you from theater to, you've done television, you've done film?
Yeah, well, I think every actor's biggest challenge is to find their next work. And I love the theater. If I could just do that, I would rather just do that.
Yeah.
But that's not reality. There's not a lot of money in it, and I like to earn. So I started eventually making my own projects. I direct, I act, I produce, I finance.
Right. So there is a production that you recently put on yourself. I really like the title of it. What was that most recent thing that you did?
A play or a film?
It was a play, and it was something and What I Wore.
Love, Loss, and What I Wore.
That's it.
It's written by
love that title.
Nora and Delia Ephron. They're New York writers. They're wonderful writers, and they wrote the play based on the book by Eileen Beckerman. And the play is, I cast 6 women. You don't need to have 6 women, but I cast 6 women. And they I cast them to sit in director's chairs, and they kind of half read, they kind of half don't read. They kind of use it what they call as a crutch, the script as a crutch. But it was
support almost.
Yeah, and so they're never really off book, which is hard to kind of read but kind of not read.
To contain yourself kind of in that space.
Yeah, so it did very well. Went to a festival. We did very well.
Was that based in Toronto, or did you
no, it was the Western Ontario Drama Festival. And we won a bunch of awards. We were nominated for a bunch of awards. It was the first time that the theater group had ever entered the festival, and I didn't think we would do very well, but we did very well. And there probably, I don't know, and I can't really say, but I think that there's going to be a remount of the show.
Wow, congratulations on that. That's awesome. Yeah. So if you were to pick a role that particularly inspired you, that really excited you, what role would that be?
Well, it would be in the theater. I played a gay biker in a play.
I would say that's a fairly unique role. No?
Yeah, it was. It was a really good play. It was by Michael Tremblay, and it was called Hosanna. And it did very well, and I really liked that. I learned a lot from that. I find just working with good directors, you can have a very, it's true, there's no small actor, just, no small parts, just small actors. And I firmly believe that, because if I don't have any formal training. I was just lucky enough to get cast, and I love the theater. I love to be in that surrounding all the time, and I would go and I would sit and watch the other actors and watch the directors. Now that I'm starting to direct, I'm so glad that I watched those directors all those times. And I was also in another really good production of Waiting for Godot.
Oh, wow.
By Samuel Beckett, and I played. Oh my God, I forget the name. Lucky.
Cool.
Played the role of Lucky, and that was very good.
Well, and that's one of those kind of like seminal plays that,
Mhm.
you know, if there's a dream role for an actor, chances are it's in a play like Waiting for Godot.
Waiting for Godot, and you know those classics are always great. You
Mhm.
know, whether it's Shakespeare, or Tennessee Williams,
Mhm.
and those are all great. But I don't really. I always like to look at the director and the
Mhm.
director's vision.
Mhm.
But I'm to the age now, and maybe I'm just too snooty, or maybe I'm just lazy. I don't want to do some things anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. And maybe that's the last thing that an actor should be saying is I don't want to do some things, but there's some things that I would much rather do.
Well, and that's fair when you're at a point where you've had enough experience and done enough things and you know, to use, you know, kind of a trite phrase, you've paid your dues. You're at the point where you can probably pick and choose. So that
Yeah,
being
I
said,
find that more so now,
Yeah.
and I'm not. I'm a little older now. I'm 41, and I don't mind saying, yeah, I don't know if I want to. I don't want to do that.
and that's completely fair. But again, that being said, what would that dream role for you right now be?
Well, a dream role.
Like, is there something you've always wanted to play that's
No,
hasn't come up yet?
there isn't too many dream roles that I would really like to play. I did. There's a couple of roles I'd like to play again.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a great production of 12 Angry Men, and I'd like to revisit that.
That's a great film. That's
Yeah.
been done in the theater?
Yeah, well,
Wow.
it's a play that was done as a movie.
Was it? Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Look at me
And-
learning things about theater.
So I would really like to do that again, and I would like to do Waiting for Godot, but some of the other roles,
Mhm.
not just the role that I played.
Mhm.
I've played some great roles that not everybody is fortunate enough to do, and I'm so glad, and I really am thankful and
Mhm.
blessed that I was able to do them.
Awesome.
But the role that I look at, I don't I don't think there is. I would like to be involved in productions, and listen, honest to God,
Mhm.
I'm just happy to cast.
Really?
That's the political right thing to say,
Yeah.
but that's totally true. I don't forget that for a second.
Well, and
I
that's
go
fair.
out, you cast me in a small role, then that is what I'm going to do.
Well, and if you love your craft and you love acting, you love being out there,
Yeah.
then there's definitely nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that's no bullshit. I like to be with the actors. I like to be in the surroundings. You know, let the cards fall where they may.
But you've played both sides of the coin. You've been the actor, you've also been the director, you've been the producer, you've done kind of everything in that role. What do you feel like is kind of the niche that you enjoy being in, or do you really just like kind of dabbling in all of it?
I like to dabble in all of them. Since directing, I really like the directing for different reasons. And I think that, I don't know if I've found my calling, but I really like, right now, I really, really like directing. I think about big picture.
Right.
I think about budget. I think about the blocking, you know, the movement on the stage.
Yeah. Well, the production as a whole.
The
like
production as
creating
a whole,
it.
yeah. And of course, I like the acting, but I find that I get quite nervous.
Do you really? I
Yeah.
couldn't even imagine that.
I get quite nervous, and directing, I don't have that.
No.
Well, I do. I certainly get a nervous opening night. I'm more
Right.
frightened opening night directing than I would be if I was on the stage.
Well, you've got a whole different level of responsibility
Right.
in that case. Like, actors will have their responsibility for that individual role, whereas you have the responsibility for that entire production.
Yeah, and even if I'm directing a film, I'm much more nervous, and I don't like to see myself on film. I'd rather eat glass than watch myself on film. If you have a face and voice like this, you don't want to see. But watching something that I've directed, I'm quite nervous and critical about, because I realize then that, film's forever.
It is.
The theater, people pay and they're done that night.
Yeah,
and they go home. The
they'll
film is
forget
there
it.
forever. It's
Yeah.
on the internet. And I don't know.
Especially these days,
Yeah.
with the internet for sure.
But I like doing it all. I like doing it. I like the producing. I like the financing, as long as I get my money back.
Of course.
And I like and I really like the directing and the acting.
So interesting that you touched upon film. What do you see as like the really kind of intrinsic differences between the film industry and the theater industry, aside from the
You know what?
that kind of tenuousness of timing?
I don't find there's, people say film directors and theater directors. Yeah, I do think that there's a difference. I think that the theater actor generally is more prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have to say that because that's where I come from.
That's more what
But
you do.
but I really do believe that. I see theater actors; they're much more organized. They're aware of their surroundings and the text and in their voice and the way they carry themselves on set, and they're But the business side, I find that the film business is much more pretentious.
Yeah.
And
I can definitely see that.
I don't like that at all. And the other thing is, I find this more and more, is things are suddenly out of my hands. I can't edit it.
In film?
Yeah, I can't edit it.
Yeah.
I can't put in the sound. So I'm waiting there. But if I'm in charge of a sound on my play, well then, I call the shots and we're doing it on Tuesday.
And also in terms of theater versus film, with theater it's much less forgiving if you're not prepared. You're putting out a production that it's live, it's being seen in person, whereas with film, there's the power of editing. You can redub, you can do a bunch of different things.
The film actor is only as good as the editor wants them to be.
And that's, you're talking about the editor, the sound editor.
Yeah,
all that type of stuff.
I like the micro budget films. I like the indie films. I like the bingo bango bongo, get them in, get them done. More raw. I think the audience is less forgiving when it's a short. I like them. They don't make any money, but I like doing them. I like producing them and financing them and acting and directing and all that. But when it's a good training ground. People should be making more short films now. Yeah, I'm telling you right now, because they have to work fast.
Yeah.
If you're in a play, you've got 6 weeks till you open.
Right.
If you're doing a movie, a big budget movie, they have time. They can get it from different shots, different angles, different scenarios. But in short, when you work with me, we work fast, and we're only taking 6 takes, and that's it. Like, we're moving on.
You're not sitting here cutting through hours and hours of film and finding the best.
So when I send it to an editor, they have 6 takes of everything, and that's it.
Yeah. And I think that, again, adds that kind of raw quality and that reality of it. So, clearly you've talked about a few different projects that you've done, a lot of different mediums that you've worked in. If you had to pick something that you were super proud about, super excited about, is there one thing that you can kind of reach out and grab and tell us about?
Well, everything I'm working on right now.
Everything ever.
Everything that I'm working on right now.
What are you working on right now?
I have a short film that's. I have 4 films right now in post-production.
Oh wow.
They're in different areas of post. So
these are films that you're acting in, or that you're directing, or a little bit of everything?
One 3 I've acted in. All 3 I was involved with producing or financing. And then I have 2 films that I directed, and then this weekend I'm in a film.
Wow.
I'm going to be shooting just on a Saturday, and then in a couple of weeks I'm going to be directing another little short film.
So anything that you can name drop that we can look forward to?
A film called The Hotel Room, and fingers crossed we will be submitting it to TIFF.
Wow.
And
TIFF for this year?
TIFF for this year, yeah. Ooh. So I have high hopes for that. I think it's a good little film.
Yeah.
And then another
It's a short?
Yeah, it's a short. Okay. And then we have a longer short. It's still a short, but it's a longer short. And it's called On the Line. And it's about college athletes and their families being paid off by universities and colleges.
And is this kind of an American-based story?
It's an American-based story, yeah. Because we'd like to pitch it as a TV series.
But that's also just the American kind of sports, especially school-related sports culture is on a whole nother level than it is here. I don't care how intense you might be as a hockey dad. Yeah. You go to an American kind of school of sports culture, it's religion. It's a whole nother level.
It makes hockey look like chump change.
Like nothing.
And it's called On the Line, and because it's a double entendre that you sign on the line and everything's on the line, and you're playing football, it's on the line.
I was gonna say it's probably around football if we're talking American. Cool. So, you've got a lot of experience. You've done all sorts of different things. You started acting when you were young. If you were to give, someone coming into either the theater industry, the film industry, just acting in general, a piece of advice for just starting out, what would it be?
Well, work a lot. Don't sit in a coffee shop and write your manifesto of what you eventually want to write as a film. Write it and go and shoot it on your iPhone or shoot it, get it done, work, network, do stuff.
Get in the trenches.
Get in the trenches. I'm not bursting at the seams with talent or looks or anything like that, but I do get things done. If we're gonna make a piece of art, then that's what we're gonna do. So I encourage people to not talk about it, but actually get involved, audition for community theater, Yeah, I don't know. I get asked that. And I just say, just fucking work. Just get involved. Do stuff. You want to make a movie? Make the movie. Do.
I think that's really key.
And people talk to me a lot about financing because they're usually looking for money.
Yeah.
But people talk to me a lot about the financing, and this is the part that gets me. They give me the whole pitch on the movie, and then eventually we talk about the movie, the price of the movie, and I say, so what are you looking at for a budget? And I have this kind of planned in my mind because I see this all the time.
Right.
And they say, well, $3.2 million. And I say, do you know how much you pay on groceries per week? And they say, no. And I say, well, if you don't know how much you pay for groceries for one person, how can you budget a major motion picture for $3.2 million?
Wow.
Like you don't know what you're talking about.
That must make them sit and scratch their heads for a minute.
And I also find that most films don't need to cost nearly as much as what people want them to be.
No.
Films should be based on performance and writing and direction.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And if you're creative and if you're innovative, you can do anything on a shoestring budget not, a Hollywood version of a shoestring budget on actual shoestring budget.
People will watch a film, and people make these long films, like 2 hours long. We've all gone to independent films. They're 2 hours long, and it's awful. You can't wait to get out of there. I'd rather climb the stairs at the CN Tower. But when people make films, they should just make them small. Just get to the party late, leave a hell of an impression, and leave early.
That's a good point. If only more people were doing that. I really appreciate that.
Okay.
Put that out there. So the last thing I'm going to ask you, and it's because our magazine is called Addicted. So we started the magazine on the premise that, addicted is kind of a tainted word. To be addicted to things, can ruin lives, can do a whole bunch of horrible things. But if you're really passionate about something and can't live without it, that's a version of an addiction. It can be something that drives you and causes you to accomplish amazing things. So I always like to ask anybody in the interview, what would you say is that kind of positive addiction for you? That thing that you can't live without, that makes you get up in the morning and makes you do the things that you want to do?
Or what am I addicted to?
Or in general, if you want to just confess your addictions, by all means,
totally
go right
addicted.
ahead.
I am totally addicted to moisturizing my cuticles.
That's really key. People take cuticle care very for granted.
Yeah, I am totally addicted.
I do right now.
Obsessive and compulsive about moisturizing my cuticles.
Do you get manicures on the regular?
No, never.
You should.
No.
You've never gone to manicure?
I'm far too manly for that, no.
Oh, no,
but I
you
moisturize my cuticles like crazy. I don't think that I'm addictive. I think that maybe I'm just a little obsessive about some things.
So what are you obsessed with that gets you up in the morning?
My cuticles.
Besides your cuticles.
Well, I have a business. I have a gravel quarry.
Right.
Yeah. So I have to get up for that.
Yeah.
I just fear of failure.
Yeah, that's key.
I like to work. I mean, I like to hang out. I like to drink and have fun. But I'm not a partier. Like I don't golf.
Yeah.
I don't fish.
Yeah.
I don't do anything with cars. Like I'm from a small town. I don't do anything like that. Like I'm not into buying clothes. I'm the least materialistic person in the world. I really like to learn and talk with people and entertain and be entertained. I like to travel. So I'm addicted to all those things.
It sounds like you're addicted to living.
I'm addicted to living.
Yeah. Living the good life and having fun.
I certainly love my wife and my little boy.
That's good.
I'm definitely addicted to that.
I would hope that you'd be addicted to your little boy, because that sounds pretty cool.
My wife's not too bad either.
Yeah? She's cool? We like her?
Yeah, it took me a while to get her, but yeah.
Awesome.
First, you're a little funky, then.
Well, good for you. And good for her, I hope, as well.
Yes, thank you.
And thank you very much for taking the time
What are you
to chat with us
addicted to?
today. Oh, God. That's a long, long list, and this interview is not about me.
No.
You want to interview me later? We can talk about all my many
Turn
addictions.
it off. I want to find out about you.
All right, sounds good. Thanks very much for taking the time to chat with
Thank
us. And good luck in all your projects, and we'll definitely talk to you soon.
And my Twitter handle is
tell us.
MattieBoy5150.
Is it?
Yeah,
I'll
it is.
be
I'm not
tweeting
kidding. You're asking me like I'm kidding. Are you serious?
I was like, it just kept going. That's Twitter handle. MattieBoy51507235.
No, it's not quite like that. There's an H. MattieBoy5150.
MattieBoy5150 Twitter.
Matthew Wilson, 2 T's, 2 L's. That's it. That's just for you, just so you know.
Do you have an Instagram for the people to find you on?
No.
Well, we'll get you on it by the time this night is over. Thanks very much, Matthew.
Thank you.